Groups, non-governmental organizations and activists are holding a press briefing on utilization of COVID-19 funds. Let's cross over live and listen in.
To those gaps. Next. On human resource and infrastructure for health. 1. The Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Health, to provide a full report on county preparedness to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of availability of functional bed capacity, availability of oxygen supplies, PPEs, and medical professionals available to provide health services to the public. Number 2, the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Health, to provide a report on the number of medical practitioners who have been recruited and deployed to the workstations as advertised using the funds provided by the World Bank. Number 3, the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Health, to provide a report on what the government has done to access and address the occupational health and safety of medical practitioners as a guarantee to their protection, and put in place a life insurance cover and compensation package for their dependents in case of demise in line of duty. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Sandra from White Ribbon Alliance. On transparency in public procurement, all government agencies must, as a matter of right to information, proactively publish the names of companies and the beneficial owners and individuals awarded any contracts for COVID-19 related commodities or services, and the contract amounts at national and county levels on the Public Procurement Information Portal. 2, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority must publish a market price index of all essential drugs and commodities required for the management and response for COVID-19 to guide procuring entities on price ceilings and provide safeguards against the inflation of commodity prices.
Alan Maleche from Kelin, picking up on the issue of immediate accountability for all COVID-19 resources and full public disclosures. We make the following demands: that the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, must publish detailed expenditure information on all funds advanced for the COVID-19 response efforts through donations, donor grants, loans, salary cuts for civil servants, reallocation of budgets, and other sources by all recipient entities, including the national and county governments and the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund Board. Second, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, must provide full disclosure on the distribution of PPEs acquired by the Government of Kenya, whether purchased or donated, giving full details on sources and recipients. 3, all county governments must publish detailed expenditure information on all resources received for the COVID-19 response efforts. 4, development partners and international financial institutions must demand that the government publishes full information on the disbursement, allocation, and utilization of all funds advanced as grants or loans. 4, development partners and international financial institutions must make public grant agreements they have signed with the Government of Kenya and any other players in the health sector dealing with COVID. Finally, the UN agencies must make public on their website and other platforms the nature of technical support, if any, that they are providing and can further provide to the national and county governments to ensure transparency and accountability in the current pandemic. Thank you.
On planning and coordination and implementation response efforts, the functions of the National Coordination Committee on the response to the coronavirus pandemic must be delinked from the Ministry of Health, particularly in regard to financial management to enhance professionalism and integrity in the management of the COVID-19 resources. On social protection, the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection must publish all the information on the criteria for allocation and distribution of social protection funds aimed at mitigating the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic, including the list of all beneficiaries and the amounts dispersed.
On oversight and enforcement, the Auditor General must conduct an independent audit of all funds advanced for the COVID-19 response efforts to all recipient entities, including the national and county governments and the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund Board. This audit should include the accounts for the different government institutions using public resources to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, must fast-track independent investigations on the already suspected cases of corruption at national and county levels. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, should ensure timely prosecution, while the judiciary should facilitate the speedy hearing and determination of these cases so that those found culpable are brought to book. The investigative authorities and the ODPP should set up a live dashboard on the status of all cases relating to COVID-19 corruption so that all Kenyans are able to monitor the progress of these cases. The Asset Recovery Agency should act within its mandate to freeze accounts of individuals who have irregularly allocated or received COVID-19 tenders and recover all COVID-19 resources that have been stolen.
All right, so let me just take you through some of the things that are concerns that have been put forward by actually some of the recommendations they put forward to the government and also to international donors. They want the Ministry of Health and the COVID-19 response team to actually delink it from the Ministry of Health and also from that response team as a way of having transparency when it comes to dealing with COVID-19 funds. They also want international donors to make it public, the sort of grant they signed with the government, the benefits, what the country was going to get. And also, lastly, they also want the Ministry of Health to give a list of the PPEs where it was distributed and the people who benefited, especially at the county governments. They also want the county governments to also come clean on how they've spent the COVID-19 funds. Several things they've talked about. A developing story, and of course, my colleague Lofty Matambo will be giving you an in-depth explanation on some of the memorandum, what they want the government to do at the county and also at the national government when it comes to transparency on how COVID-19 funds, the billions of shillings, have been utilized.